Welcome, everybody. It's your boy, the Versace Stoner, with another episode of VSW. Thank you. It's your boy here, the Versace Stoner. And we're here with another episode of VSW, and tonight we are going to talk about episode 3 of The Road by Limitless Wrestling. It's on IWTV every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, right before the Wednesday Night Wars that everybody's into with AEW and WWE, NXT. But right before that, 7 o'clock, one of the greatest shows to showcase indie wrestling talent is on, and it's called The Road. It's hosted by Limitless Wrestling. We're in its 3rd season, and it's just been an amazing journey if you followed it from the beginning. All the seasons, even the show they did prior to that, Pandemic at the Dojo, very entertaining. Great, cast of characters, as you may say, a good variety of wrestlers, and really showcasing the talent. I've been really impressed with this show, and kudos to Randy Carver for really entertaining us through the pandemic like this. It's very hard not going to live shows. It's even harder, not being able to interact with wrestlers and other fans. And I believe, these shows on IWTV has allowed both to happen. It's brought in fans together talking about wrestling again. And it's also allowed the fans to be able to watch wrestling in a kind of semi-indie setting. I mean, we're not there live, but we are getting to watch them wrestle at an arena. And there is some people there, other wrestlers and talents, etc. So it's pretty cool. So let's jump into the card. We'll start off in some of the orders of the matches. This is actually one of my favorite carded episodes. Every episode, actually, it gets better and better. But we'll start off with the first match. And we have Love Doug facing off Jalen. And he was just returning, coming back, waves and curls and everything. He came back, and he put on, what a show. What a show. I was stunned. I mean, Love Doug, I love him too. Don't get me wrong. He's been lighting fires across the indie scene of New England, in my opinion. But Jalen really, really crushed it, in my opinion. He was on fire all night. He came in, he dominated, and it was happy to be back. And I think you could tell if fans were there, we would be happy to have him back. I was very impressed with the, obviously with the moves and the athleticism. I always am. With Waves and Curls, one of my favorite tag teams that was on the indie circuit. And in solo competition, it's been no different. So, with that being said, though, no skin off of Love Doug. I mean, this guy's tremendous. He's someone to keep an eye out on in 2021 for sure. Wherever you might watch him in any promotion. He's very charismatic. He's just a lovable character. You just want to fall in love, take him home with you. I hope they make merch. Like, I know he has shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees, but I want to see maybe some Wrestling Buddies. Love Doug Wrestling Buddies is where it's at. Everybody can take one home and love it. Doug would be happy. The fans would be happy. Everybody would be happy. And then, moving on the card, we had another match. A continuation of the season finale of last year with Becca and Delmy Exo. And these two girls giving it their all last night on Limitless. Becca taking the victory in the end. But both impressing me. Both. Becca, first of all, let's just say she's another one as in tearing apart the indie scene from, south to north, east to west, wherever we might go, and you see her, she's doing her thing. And Delmy Exo's a legend, as you all know, both in singles and in tag. These two women battled it all. If you watched last season's match, rather, it was a great match. This one was, in my opinion, a tad bit better. Very exciting match to be just thrown in there kind of casually, in my opinion. They kind of could have saved it for Double Vision if they wanted to, I think. But that card is stacked any which way. We'll go over that in another podcast. Either we'll do a preview or we'll do a review or both. I haven't decided yet. But with that one now, with Becker and Delmy, I would give that probably another 5 stars, 4 stars. Like, these matches were all fire last night. I was fired up the whole night for the whole hour watching it. Next up, Alexander Lee continuing his reign of terror, burning down the dojo as he took on Connor Hex and defeating him. He has been on the warpath. Alexander Lee is probably one of my other favorite wrestlers from Maine. Back when he was with the MSP, Main Street Posse, he was great. But now on singles, he's just vicious. Very vicious and just maniacal, and he just wants to torture them, make everybody miserable. He's just great. He's great. He's what a heel should be in wrestling, in my opinion. Little known facts, or maybe it's a big known fact, he's also a teacher and an instructor at the dojo for Limitless Wrestling. And I wouldn't mind, learning from him or seeing a seminar of his or something, because he's just great in the way he presents himself and the way he wrestles. The way he goes out there and really works the magic of the crowd and the facial expressions. If you really study wrestling and study, how people use their face and their tone and their body to express who they are inside the ring, he does a great job of it. And he did another great job last night with his match against Connor Hex, both giving it a good fight. But Alexander Lee taking on the victory, and you just have to wonder who's next. Who is he going to take out next? I don't know. We have to wait and find out. But I do look forward to seeing it. And whoever it is, I'm sure he will destroy them. And moving on to the main event of the night. And this was a banger, guys. Like an absolute banger. If you're not subscribed to IWTV, you should get on that now. If you've never subscribed, you can use code Limitless and get a free trial, and then just pay afterwards when that trial is over. But it is worth it to go back and watch these matches if you haven't. And the final match was Most Marketable Richard Holiday versus TJ Crawford. Now, TJ Crawford, first of all, let me tell you, he's the other guy that has been ripping apart the indie scene. Just putting himself out there. And just really, I watched him, a year ago at a little over a year ago at another event by another promotion, and he was good, but he wasn't where he is right now. And right now, where he is in a good spot. He didn't get the victory last night, but he won the match in my book. He was the better wrestler. He was the better entertainer. Richard Holiday is great. He's like MJF, if you followed MJF or know of him. He's kind of similar on that lines of the way he responds to the crowd and acts. He's better than everybody. He wears his AirPods. Very good technical wrestler, very sound. An amazing athlete. Wrestles out of MLW, and I've seen him at a few other promotions around. But, TJ Crawford came out fighting. Maybe he was considered the underdog in this fight, maybe not. But he came out fighting. I saw one great spot. He flew, over the ropes, out to the outside, onto him. It was just an amazing spot to see him fly like that. And he was just fired up. If there was crowds there, we would have been screaming and chanting. We would have been fired up. And I could just feel the excitement of the people in the crowd that were there, the wrestlers and such. They were fired up for that. And if you just look at, again, his facial expressions, he was just totally into it, just rip-roaring. I was very impressed with TJ Crawford last night on Limitless, and I look forward to seeing him more. I was very excited to see him also as the main event of the show. That's great for him. Really gets the exposure and his name out there. And again, like, he's been tearing it up on the indie scene. Again, no skin off Richard Holiday. He was wonderful too. And, he got the job done in the end. But TJ is the person to be looking out at. So I would say this was, overall, if I had to grade this whole episode last night, I would give it a 4.5 stars. It was top-notch indie wrestling at its finest. Thank you again, Randy Carver and Limitless, and all of the Limitless wrestlers, family, and everybody else that helps put these shows together every single Wednesday night. Thank you very much from the Versace Stone and the VSW family. We thank you. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you. We do look forward to next Friday, Double Vision. That should be something incredible. The card just keeps getting better and better and better. Like I said, we're not sure if we're going to do a preview show. We're definitely doing a review show. But you might see both. And besides that, that is your wrap-up on Limitless The Road, Season 3, Episode 3. I'm your host, the Versace Stoner. Thank you very much for listening. Have yourself a great night. Versace out.